Welcome everyone, welcome to our very first Marketing Monday. We are going to be starting this Marketing Monday series with how games make money. We're going to talk about different monetization models around games, also a little bit into why games are priced certain ways, stuff like that. Again, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a really fun time. Curious to see what you guys think. So let's jump into it. So there are four ways primarily that games make money. We're going to go through all four of them. For all four of them, I'm going to show you a little data. I'm also going to go over some good examples and some bad examples. Games are an investment, right? These companies oftentimes put up a lot of money up front. They go into a lot of debt to make these games, and the objective is to make at least as much money as they put into the game from the game. So if a game costed $1 million to make, they want to make at least $1 million back. So we're going to talk about how they do that. The first way that games make money is by charging like the retail price for a game. This is the most common way, most popular way. It's also like the oldest way. It's worked for a really long time. Just charge money for the game. You've got to buy the game to play it. This is obviously, as you can see here, two top Xbox One titles. I'm sure we all have memories of waking up early on Saturday morning, getting on, the headset with your friends and playing SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for the Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, and going late into the early hours of the morning playing Jumanji, the video game on the PS4. And actually, like, most games that you buy are $60, right? And games have been $60 since like the mid-90s. And before then, they costed even more than $60 because in the mid-90s is when they switched to discs. And before then, they were cartridges, right? This one on the left is the average price for new console games. And this is adjusted for inflation. This is the $60 mark. It's essentially always been $60. Here in 1994, it was $60. And in 2014, it's $60. This graph here on the right goes even further. It goes back to the year 1980. 1980, your games were costing between $70 and $100, and it's not changed a lot. This was, the orange is the era of the cartridge, the green is the era of the disc, right? So again, that price of the game really hasn't changed like at all over the last 40 years. And why? It's mostly like a psychology thing. With games, an expectation of quality, right? That because people know that the best games cost $60, they're going to associate that price with the best games, and over time, people just aren't willing to pay much more than that. But if it's less than that, people assume that it's a lesser quality game. If it's more than that, then they just won't buy it. And so a big question is, when you pay $60, where does that money go? The store that you buy the game from gets about 1/3 of it. So when you go to GameStop or Best Buy and you buy, your SpongeBob SquarePants Xbox game for $60, the store is taking $20 of that. The next bit is packaging and shipping. So this is when you think of what it costs to make the game, like physically making all of the discs or making all of the cases they go in or shipping all of that. Again, another top Xbox title here, a Big Chungus. After the shipping and stuff is the licensing. For example, when you think about playing the Tony Hawk skateboard game, Tony Hawk gets like the cut of all the games that are being sold. Or this is Star Wars Battlefront. Disney is getting a cut out of all of the Star Wars games that are being sold because they get a license fee on Star Wars Battlefront. Now, a lot of games developers, they'll pay this licensing fee up front. So they'll say, I'll pay you $20 million to let me use your Tony Hawk's name and image and brand in my game. Like, fine, okay. But then a lot of them are paid on what's called royalties, which means that for every game that's sold, they get a certain percentage of the game. A $60 game, usually the licensing fee goes out to about $7 of the $60. Next is unsold inventory. This is the one that kind of like blows my mind. Let's say that Big Chungus is released a Christmas Day in the year 2019. Christmas Day 2021 is coming around. No one is buying Big Chungus anymore. They've still got tons of copies on their shelves. And Big Chungus 2 is coming out. So they don't want to be selling Big Chungus anymore, right? They want to start making ready for Big Chungus 2. To do that, they need to get rid of all of their original Big Chungus games. And they actually charge the developers to do that. And so a good amount, equal amount as a licensing fee, costs just to get rid of the games that didn't sell. Does Rockstar have to pay a licensing fee to Oscar the Grouch because GTA is garbage? A couple of these are removed by digital games. For example, you don't need to pay packaging, shipping, or making fee for digital games, right? Because it's not going anywhere physically and you're not making any discs. And you don't need to pay to get rid of unsold inventory for digital games. Next is the developers. So the people who are actually making the game, how much money do they get? Out of a $60 game, they're making about $5. The developers get a very, very small portion of the games that they're selling. And that's why they need to sell a ton, right? They need to sell a ton. So that leaves this big chunk, $17 out of the $60. It's with the publishers, the people who are advertising the game, marketing the game. They take about another third of the money. And so for a lot of times, like if you take Halo, for example, Halo is being developed and published by Microsoft, right? So they're getting this $22, right? So they're getting more. But then there are games like the companies like Valve or Square Enix who don't do a lot of their own publishing, right? They're going to publish through larger brands. They're going to publish through EA. They're going to publish through Sony or through Microsoft. And they're losing a significant cut of the game. This is exactly why games that are free to play don't need to pay for adverts, gain a lot of traction, and then use the streamers to advertise for them. Great segue, Sneaks, because the next monetization model are microtransactions. Now, a majority of microtransactions come from mobile games. We'll show some data, and this works for some games better than others, right? Some people, for some types of games, it makes more sense to charge like small amounts. So the stuff in the red is this first in the top left-hand corner, just paying for the games, right? This red is just the money they're making from paying for the game. Both of these blue are microtransactions. This light blue are microtransactions in games you still have to buy. So you buy the game and then there are additional microtransactions. Think about Battlefront 2, most EA games. This in the blue, the dark blue, are microtransactions in free-to-play games. So this is your Fortnite, stuff like that. Massive, right? These two blue combined are microtransactions. This red is no microtransactions. So with these two gamers have decided they're pretty much okay with this type of paying for a game, right? People are willing to pay money to buy the game and then just have the game, right? And people are willing to download a game for free and then pay little microtransactions as they want, right? I think the big thing with both of these is you can say no, right? You can say no, I'm not gonna buy the game, and then just move on. And you can say no, I'm gonna play Fortnite, I'm not gonna buy any V-Bucks. I'm gonna play Warzone, I'm not gonna get the Battle Pass. I'm gonna play Animal Crossing, I'm not gonna get any of these extra Leaf tickets, right? These two people are pretty much okay with. The third is charging companies to run ads in the game or for incentivized behavior. This shows up in two ways. Like Dark Rose was saying earlier, the Candy Crush way. Most mobile games have this. You're playing the game and then you stop and you've got to watch the 10-second ad. And the mobile games are usually ads for other mobile games. The other way is incentivized behavior. Here in the bottom left-hand corner, this is one of the best examples I could find of it. This is from the Family Guy mobile game. It says, basically, you can get free clams if you watch American Dad clips. Like, hey, I do that for free. Free clams? That's just cherry on top. But that's another common thing. Well, in these games, they'll say, if you watch this ad, we'll give you clams. Right? Or we'll give you extra lives if you watch this ad. The last one is in-game ads. And this can be done either really well or really poorly. This is a real Mario Kart 8 expansion that you can get, where you can get different kinds of Mercedes for all the cars. And when you go online and stuff, your car is a Mercedes. Now, believe it or not, this is one of the better in-game ads. This is like something where the product fits. You sell cars, there's a racing game, it makes more sense. And then there's stuff like, that wouldn't make as much sense, like Starbucks coffee in Assassin's Creed. right? For example, when Joe Biden was running for president, they had a marketing campaign with Animal Crossings. You could get Joe Biden for president lawn signs and put it on your lawns in Animal Crossing. Everyone is trying to find ways to do it right. This model in the top left-hand corner, the charging for the game, it is not working as well as it used to. People are not buying $60 games as much as they used to. But when people get really upset is when you do more than one. Some companies, they'll just do all 4 of them. They'll do everything. Gamers, they just get fed up, right? They get fed up feeling totally exploited. Like they're paying for something and they have to be mentally taxed every time they play it. So we're gonna give 2 examples, all right? So these are the 2 really bad examples. Now, if you don't know what this is from SimCity 2013. This is the Nissan Leaf power station, okay? This was released as a day 1 DLC for SimCity. Now, not only is it aggressively branded, like super aggressively branded, but it is one of the most overpowered and broken buildings in the history of SimCity. Why, you might ask? Essentially, it generates pure happiness, and it has no power costs. It has no fuel costs, and it has like very little to no like money costs. So literally every time that you put one in, it generates pure radiant happiness in all directions. So it turns SimCity 13, where the optimal strategy for building a city is just to put hundreds of these Nissan electric Leaf power stations all over your city. But then, you know, only the Nissan Leaf cars can power up at these Nissan Leaf power stations. So then you end up with a city with hundreds of Nissan Leaf power stations and thousands of Nissan Leaf cars, exclusively Nissan Leaf cars driving around. It's the most broken pay-to-win system ever, and it's in a single-player game. It's literally in a single-player game, SimCity 13. Oh, I didn't even realize both of my examples are both EA examples, yeah. But the thing is, I bet the developers of the game wanted to balance it. Like, I bet the people who made the game were like, yo, makes no sense. This is super broken. But the developers are not the people that are making the decisions in these games, right? It's the people who are overseeing business strategy. They are making the decisions. At the end of the day, people who are doing business strategy are not just making the business decisions. They are affecting these games at the most intimate level. Because I can just see a bunch of marketing people huddle around a table, and the developers come in and they got this big presentation, and the developers are like, don't do this because it breaks our game. And the marketers are like, if we make it so that there's a fuel cost, or if we make any downside to this DLC, Nissan is going to be mad. Nissan is not going to want to do this. We're going to lose the Nissan partnership. It's got to be a win-win for Nissan. Battlefront 2, also a notorious example. Either grind 200 hours to unlock 2 or 3 characters, or pay 20 bucks, right? That's pay to win. Now we're going to move on to 2 good examples, or what are good in my opinion. Rocket League and Fortnite. These are some of the best, most lucrative marketing deals in video game history. I had never heard of this Rocket League one, to be honest, until I was doing the research. And they had a Rocket League on Hot Wheels, and I don't know if it's still a thing, but basically you can get Hot Wheels in the game. It makes sense, right? The product is fit. The Hot Wheels, they make cars. Rocket League, it's a game about cars. And there's no pay to win, right? You can pay to buy these, but it's just skin. League of Legends does this a lot too. And the second good example is the Marvel and Fortnite partnership. Again, there's no pay-to-win mechanics here, right? Whether you play as the default Fortnite character or as Iron Man, there was no difference. And it made sense, right? People want to play as Thanos in Fortnite. All right, that's the end of this half. How video games make money. Ta-da!